Hello.
And once again, we're back.
Yeah. In the words of of the old saying, I guess the third time will be the charm.
Yes.
'Cause I swear is this is the beauty of podcasting that this happens from time to time. I don't know you or the the app itself, because the app acts up from time to time, but that's life. So, but we was talking about the Omicron, how it's going to change a lot of things at the beginning of the year, what have you. You said you were doing your rounds about, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Exactly.
Know what you were saying?
Yeah, so I was doing my rounds and we looked over and it was pouring down rain here in LA the other day, and um people were lined up around the block to get COVID tested. Even when I'm in line at the pharmacy, sometimes I stop there when I'm doing my rounds to pick up some things that I need, whether it's my protein bars or whatever,
Yeah.
um and so I'm doing that, and people just walk up and they go, are you guys out of like home COVID testing kits? And I am seeing like this level of panic in people right now, whereas just a couple of short weeks ago, it's like everything looked like things were going to start to be on the up and up. So I don't know if you get that vibe in North Carolina.
No, we got it.
But yeah, so people are, I think it's everywhere where people are like, we just don't know what's going to happen.
But see, part of it is because, well, okay, we're about to get political to start the show. I just feel that the government was not being 100% honest because they don't know.
Exactly.
And I think the problem is that because they just don't want to be honest with people, if they were, people would probably take better precautions altogether. And two, in my opinion, they should have been had the rapid test a shit overload of that shit, because you were seeing how everything was surging. So you was kind of seeing how this was going.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm seeing it with my own two eyes live, not the media, with my own eyes.
Yeah, because the media sit there have you think that all the people that's in the hospital are people that's unvaccinated, when that's not true. It's actually a combination of both.
Right.
That yes, the death toll is probably high with the unvaccinated, but it's still deaths in the vaccinated. That's what they're missing, and that number's going up. So it's kind of like they don't want to admit that they gave up and on fighting this virus or getting it under control or any of that, because even to the point that y'all about to now shorten the time that you're, you know what I'm saying, that you had to be quarantined.
Exactly. Yeah. And which I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, it's like, with this stuff going around, I think sometimes it could be indefinite.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed that things work out. I mean, I think at this point we've known people who have had quite a few people that have had it, and
I
even
had
some
people that
people
had
who
it
have
3 times out this motherfucker.
What's that?
I didn't know people that had it 3 times this motherfucker. Once when there was no vaccine, twice while vaccinated. I was like, damn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been saying all along is that there's so much about this thing, because when you really sum it all up and put everything in perspective, it hasn't been around that long.
Yeah. And our technology is not fast enough to keep up with it.
It hasn't grown. And it knows certain demographics, where to go to. And the thing that I've been saying all along is, even if the symptoms are mild, what are the ramifications, say maybe 10 or 5 to 10 years down the road, and that's what I'd be really worried about, since we don't know that much about it.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. But look, let's get let me do my particulars so we can get this thing rolling, okay?
Yes, let's do this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Smokers Lounge here on Anchor, the perfect app for anyone trying to start their own podcasting career. All you got to do is download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and start podcasting today. Get yourself a profile, monetize, distribute your podcast on all networks, and all this is for free. I'm your host, Kavanaugh with Southern Champ, aka the Porn Rap Star. Find my porn links, my music links, as well as my social media links, all with one link, allmylinks.com/porn rap star. We have two wonderful sponsors that we love to boast about. The first one being the Facebook of the LS community. I'm talking about lsworld.com. Go ahead today, get yourself a profile and continue your journey or start your journey into the life of kink. And our other wonderful sponsor is eroticismmagazine.com. That's right, the hottest new magazine on the market today. Get it paperback or get it digitally. And they also drop a issue every month of some of the sexiest ladies from around the world doing some freaky shit. So go check out eroticismmagazine.com, get yourself a subscription. Also, we're a proud member of the GW District Black Podcasting Network. Talk about multiple podcasts, give you the Black experience. Plus, while you're there, experience some shopping because you get the opportunity to buy products from over 500 Black-owned retailers and shops that are selling on the site. So go to shopgwdistrict.com, buy Black, support Black businesses, build the Black economy, so create generational wealth. And I need to tell you about a new smoke spot that we're now on. I'm talking about Skyhawk After Dark, skyhawkafterdarktv.com. Go there today, listen to the podcast, or check out the radio stations where podcasts are being played daily. So go to skyhawktv.com and catch that good smoke. Now I'm going to shut up and let this sexy lady introduce herself.
Hello there. It's Erikka Ryko here, and thank you for having me.
Most definitely, most definitely. So you do a lot. From what I'm saying, you a dom, pro switch actually to be the clerical term. Explain to everybody what a pro switch is.
A pro switch is somebody that can perform as a dominant or a submissive, and
Okay.
I think what that does is I've been a performing artist. I've been an actor, and I've done a lot of dramatic stuff, and I've pretty much done every genre there is in the book now. Now that I've shot porn, and I even have a comedy coming out, and I'll talk more about that
Oh
in the other
snap!
one as well. And
Yeah.
I play this asshole filmmaker who, I get to show like a really warm side at another time, and I come in right in the middle of it, and I have a nice presence throughout and here's the weird thing. Some of my friends from mainstream entertainment saw the video, the one that has like the box cover, and the response was really cool. But one of our friends, and we all did a play together a number of years back, and he watches a lot of porn, and he even dated a porn star that we worked, and this particular porn star, we worked together at the dungeon. So it's like 6 degrees of separation.
Okay.
It really is, yeah.
Most definitely. So you basically do BDSM scenes, you do boy girl scenes. You
Uh-huh.
pretty much just run pretty much the gambit or what have you. So how did you start in the business? What brought you to the adult film business?
Um, I had a chance to do it in the early 2000s, and I was working in mainstream, and I was getting into the production end, and I was writing a lot too, and still acting, still doing some theater. But I knew a lot of people. I knew Bill Margold very well, and he would chaperone me to like the Free Speech Coalition meetings, and he would also like he would get me like an industry pass to like the AVN when they still had it like at the Sands Convention Center. And
Word. Okay.
yeah, when it was like really huge. And it just seems like now, I think there's always a really good time, but it's a lot smaller. It's not as big as it was. And I think because of like all these tube sites have really, although I'll say this, well, watching like like on our platforms or watching it for pay is a lot different than the cheap stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Yeah.
free stuff.
Yeah, because I think that the two sites did kill, in many ways, did kill the business in many ways because it took away the specialness of the porn star
Yes, it did.
and devalued the porn star as well as the porn business itself and cheapened it. You know,
It did, yeah.
that's just my
Uh,
opinion.
yeah, for sure. And it's. But so I think like right after the 2008 fiasco, um, it was weird because the year prior, the Writers Guild had a strike, and I didn't want to fuck around. I'd just gotten into the Writers Guild,
Yeah.
and then I had a film, and I was doing a little world tour. I was doing the cam thing, which is really
Mm-hmm.
epic for me. So
Mm-hmm.
the next year, if I do the avian red carpet, it's like I've kind of done my pinnacle. That year I did Berlin and a few other things. So it
Oh
was
my God.
it's this weird mixture and festival
Mm-hmm.
um and one of the screenings I was at, Harvey Weinstein was there, and it was a
Oh
social
damn.
situation. And ironically, it was for this documentary called Wanted and Desired about
Mm-hmm.
another Roman Polanski, and another one who
Mm-hmm.
and um so there was becoming less and less work, and I think they say be careful what you wish for, and I really wanted to produce for a long time, and
Yeah.
I was starting to get really burnt out, and
Mm-hmm.
so at this time I was working on this like mid-budget thriller in Belgium, and it was like I was getting really burnt out, and
Mm-hmm.
um and also it was getting harder and harder to raise money in the early 2000s. It was a lot easier to fundraise,
Mm-hmm.
and then as the economy really went to shit, then
Mm-hmm.
less and less
Mm-hmm.
investors are willing to put up money for that. And
Yeah.
even a lot of studio films were, even a Bond film was late getting in,
Yeah, because
even
even when I talked to Chris, God, was the Antler, he did the Netflix movie The Old Ways. He talked about the difficulty distributing the movies,
hmm
getting them into film festivals and stuff like that, and possibly, well, nowadays, I mean, I know back then it was different, but like nowadays, now they try to get it onto these streaming services.
yeah, that's where
Crazy.
the game's right now.
So it's like, so you were doing Hollywood. So you was actually in the Hollywood, not necessarily porn, but actual the
Right, exactly.
movies Hollywood. That is like wow, period. So it was kind of like you already used to. So actually, you moving to porn really wasn't that much of a stretch because you used to being on sets and having multiple people around and stuff like this. So it's kind of was like a fish take the water almost for you.
Oh, I think that it's funny because one night I was with my girlfriend and a friend of ours, and we were at this like art festival down in Laguna Beach, and somebody said, "Yeah, you know what? If I did porn, put some implants on me, which I really don't want to do. I don't want to change my gender, but if I were to put some implants, and especially the way I was back then, I would have been what they call the legends. There's no more legends
Mhm.
anymore, but um, I think had I done that, also."
Black Wall Street is now online, baby. That's right. Visit the GW District. Shop the very best in men's and women's apparel and accessories, home decor, office supplies, books, pantry items, and so much more. The GW District is a retail marketplace of Black-owned products and media. We're both veteran and Black-owned, and we're bringing you the best online shopping experience with products made by small businesses. Come and experience the GW District difference today at shopgwdistrict.com. That's shopgwdistrict.com. The GW District, a retail marketplace of Black-owned products and media.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
I'm back again.
Good, my God. Hey, it's the world of podcasting. So you said there were no more when you stopped there, you said there were no more legends, and you was thinking about getting fake tits or what have you
Yeah,
at the time.
and I was using that, like as a figure of speech. And I also remember that later that night afterwards, we were on this gazebo overlooking the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and we were like just going at it. I was like letting her fist me, and because she was a dom too, and she actually took me on my first session, and um
Nice.
but and so as I got closer, I said, I talked to some people, and they thought, maybe working in the dungeon would be maybe a good idea. And I talked to some friends about you know, and right around this time, not to get, as I say on other podcasts, because it's so easy to, get off subject, when you're talking
Yeah,
about something, and
yeah.
um, but it's like the possibility of, like, maybe consider some sex work, and this one dungeon, the Sanctuary LAX, and right at
Mm-hmm.
that time they had the webcamming from kink.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, look, I could do this. I mean, you're um it took a few times, but, like, I think as my third time webcamming, I started getting really good at it at that time. And that's another thing that's been really debased, because there's so
Mm-hmm.
much saturation of it right now.
Yeah, it used to be a time where it was a lot of webcam girls. Then I think probably around like 2013. No, actually 2012. You want to be honest, that's when it really became saturated.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the
Exactly.
early years, it really was that many girls, and they were making bank. And then
Yeah.
once
Big
again,
time.
they just say the cat would let out the bag, and well, there you go. There
Exactly.
you go.
And the same
So,
thing, like, in Fetish and King, and my girlfriend got out of it. But
mhm,
it was still money to be made. And but other women at the dungeon would tell me, you know, like, say 2007, you wouldn't have time to even eat your lunch, and another client would be coming in.
mhm,
And, so, by that time, I mean, you would have, like, an hour, maybe 2 hours where nothing happens. No
mhm,
call, and, you don't have regulars or anything.
mhm,
And the same time, I was writing a screenplay about BDSM, and
mhm,
I had no idea how it was going to come out. And it was, art imitating life and life imitating art. Yeah.
mhm. Most definitely. So you basically was like, you was like a dom at this dungeon at the time, or you was switch.
I was groomed to be a dom. My ex at the time, who got me hired there, did not want to see me in a submissive light. And
Hmm.
I brag about this because I can go in many different directions. And that goes back to when I was an actor, where, I have certain ranges where I could place a very vile person,
Hmm.
somebody who tries to kill somebody, or somebody who can really shed a lot of layers, and really show some vulnerability too at the same time.
Hmm. Most
And
definitely. Most.
not to brag, and it's like,
Mhm.
even when if I do a feature in porn, there won't be any bad acting from my part. And I think that artistically, I may want to create some content where, um whether it's a female talent or a male talent, but I
Mhm.
want them to bring their acting game up a little bit. I want one scene out of that where it's really, on the edge. And then
Mhm.
and then with a really hot, porn scene, sex scene.
Yeah. Yeah, because storytelling is a lost art now.
It is,
Where it was
unfortunately,
very
it is.
in the early years, especially even in the early 2000s, that was a part of the business.
Hmm.
Now it's not even a part of the business. It actually sticks out like a sore. At one point, everybody was doing that.
Hmm.
So to
Yeah.
me, I think ladies that actually do role play scenes stand a better chance, and even making better money because you stand out even more. And people still do want their drama, the straight fuck scenes, but at some point they're gonna get bored with it and they're gonna want to watch a skit.
Hmm.
You know,
Exactly. I
you
mean,
know.
even I get bored watching some fuck scenes at times. And I do my homework. I look at other performers, and you know.
So when you started the film, the BDSM stuff on webcam, when did it start to become an actual filming and you were doing content?
I did my first scene with Jack Cannon in 2017, and
Okay.
I didn't shoot as much, but I was co-hosting the Triple X Porn Star Radio every Saturday.
Oh, oh my
and I,
God. Okay.
and so I think that, and we would do a few ones that were live too. We did one at a dungeon, And we took Jack and one of my friends, Miss Goddess Leanne, and we were doing what's known as a sounding, and where there's like a metal rod and it's inserted in the urethra tube, and that's the only other way except for the asshole that gets the men's prostate. And I know it sounds really kind of you know, like you want to cross your legs, but then I guess they love it. You know, I've had clients who loved it, and once I learned how to do it.
Yeah, because you'd be surprised, like some of the kinks that people have, you'd be surprised at some of the kinks, because I have heard about that kink of, you know, putting something in the penis hole, because that's what basically it is, you know. Period. I even see guys get their dick pierced. You know, they call it the Prince Albert. You know,
some it looks pretty good. You know, some, I mean, it kind of looks cool. You know, I mean.
Yeah, because I seen this one male talent. This is well before I even started filming. I watched him do a scene, and he had a Prince Albert, and that shit was crazy looking. I was like, "Yeah, ain't gonna hurt the girl." He said, "No."
No.
Oh my goodness. So you said you was also on the radio. So how was your experience on the radio like?
It was great because you know, I do have some presence, and I at that time I had done a few the Susan Block shows, and again, I think it's an extension because I've done theater, and so I thought, you know, it's only a matter of time. I don't think it's by mistake, and I think I bring something to the table, and it worked out pretty well. And then Cherry Pop brought them out, and they had some bad management. And they had some really big names. I mean, they had like Ginger Lynn, and then there was like then there was a big personnel shakeup. I think Evan Stone had a time slot, and it just bad management, and then it disbanded. And I was like, that was such a great experience for me. And
no, go ahead.
They had one of them which it was broadcast live at the New Jersey Exotica, you know, and even though I was doing it from the phone here at my house here in LA. And so I mean that's a pretty cool, you know, experience. And
most definitely. So when you start doing your scenes or what have you, with the male talents, okay, how can I put this? Were you doing content scenes or were you doing paid shoots when you first started? When you started doing boy-girl content?
Mainly paid. A friend of mine was getting in with Love's Models, and that most of the summer of 2019, I was co-hosting this BDSM event every bi-weekly at the Lair, and so we had like a lot of industry people going over there. And I'd been shooting a little bit of content off and on, and I was deciding, you know, which direction do I want to go, you know, along with doing sessions and whatever. And, you know, time to time, even some, you know, even like escort working and, you know, whatever it's like, you know, whatever, you know, brings in what contributes to my retirement. And, and so, it just landed where my friend's like, hey, you know, this company, they want to shoot, you know, mature. I was like 49 at the time. And so I go and I get tested, and I didn't have that much time. So I was on the 101, like doing like 95, swerving car so I could get my test. And I had a few other shoots booked that week. And I was actually looking ahead because I was going to London to do some BDSM events and some stuff. But I go there and I'm doing a shoot with J. Crew, and I believe he's going to be at X3 Expo as well. And so I never met him, but I get there that Sunday morning. We're shooting the scene, and it like magic. I mean, it looked well, and I've watched it. My partner's watched it, and it's like I'm wonderfully framed, well lit, and you know, getting more into it, and doing some other shoots. I did a few other boy girl shoots that week, and I was like, I think I can do pretty good at it, but I didn't think that much of it. And then it wasn't until that January I was like just so exhausted because I was traveling a lot. Um, I'd been all over, and so I didn't. So I ended up not going to AVN that year, and that was 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You know who? Um, and that March of 2020, I was booked for a lot, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that box cover, we'll fix it, and we'll figure something out, and I've rebranded it, and
Mm-hmm. And what
um,
happened with the box cover? Because I remember you were talking about that when we was on the phone.
exactly. Well, anyway, he did my name wrong, and
That's
that's what
crucial.
was that's very crucial, and so that was what it was in the database. So it's kind of like having two Twitter accounts or two Facebook accounts, and then you're trying to communicate using one or the other, and trying to get
Mm-hmm.
something across, and it doesn't happen. And
Mm-hmm.
it's taken me a lot longer to I noticed when I was in London, I wasn't really paying attention, and I was working so much, so I wasn't on social media. But even whenever I would check, I was like, wow, I'm starting to pick up a lot more followers, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think that much of it. And then as I look back, I was like, no wonder, and
Yeah.
but it's worked out because I can put like my fetish BDSM stuff in one side of the store, and then
Mm-hmm.
shooting, whether it's girl boy girl, boy
Mm-hmm.
girl boy, whatever, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
it's um that's in another section. But I definitely want to have different stores where I can do that. And the thing that really sucked was I've had to like ration content, and like a lot of the talent out there. And it's because you didn't know when it was going to be safe to shoot content, to travel, and I haven't
Mm-hmm.
traveled pre-pandemic. So um
Yeah, because it felt like you were just getting your feet wet, and then you had to stop for a minute.
yeah, and who knew how long it was going to be. And
Yeah.
um and this year has been, I think for a lot of people it's been a shit year. I think for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
It honestly been a transition year because business wise it's been transition because the way that the changes of the business,
Hmm.
um, and people having to adjust to it. That's how I look at this year. Because one, the exotics did eventually come back or what have you. So people started to do that more. But it's crazy how even though you was one of the few ladies that I talked to that didn't travel during the pandemic, because girls were still traveling. It was crazy.
Right.
I was like y'all just like people thought that the sex workers business. No, the sex worker business actually picked up, got them during the pandemic.
Hmm. Yeah.
As far as content, sales and webcamming and everything. And
Hmm.
so so to me, it's kind of like if you had your ducks in the row, you wasn't hurt but so much, you just probably couldn't get as much new content.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I have some other businesses, and there's other things that I like to do. I like to do some investments, and
Mm-hmm.
so I kind of laid low. I had a member, because I'm very polyamorous, and I had a member who was diagnosed with cancer. She passed
Oh,
away in
sorry to hear
June.
that.
So thank you. It was just that added to everything. So my head really wasn't in it, and that's the other thing for me is that
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, right around June, it looked like things were opening up. I thought, maybe I'll handle it pretty well, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll get into it, and do something to take my mind. And it's like wrong. And then when the Delta variant came in, it just, that sealed the deal right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I'm gonna shut myself off. I didn't go on social media for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
and then I had to like, one of my friends came out here to do a shoot, and that kind of really motivated me. And I was like, you know what, you got to get started. You got to get, you got to get into,
Mm-hmm.
um, you got to get back into things and move on to a certain, um, and so yeah, I think XBIZ is good. I think it's great that we're doing podcasts, and
Yeah.
I th- and at least it's like, this is my thoughts on this, and where I see the industry in this really pandemic time, and yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So shoot. So let's talk about your shoots a little bit. The shoots that you've
Hmm.
done. You're done, boy, girl.
Hmm.
Now what a lot of people really don't talk about as much is onset.
Hmm.
That, and I always get girls to describe, the shoots when we do shoots on set, they're not. It's not like fucking off camera
Right,
because
exactly.
get to account when we go on set. How is your mind state when you walk on set?
um I go in there thinking, it's about the performance, and I have the sexuality to get me on that set. um I think as an older woman, and even though I don't look like a lot of milfs out there, but I do, and I have what
Mhm.
it takes to do it, or I wouldn't be there. Um,
Basically, like to me, the milks is right now the on the menu. They the hot shit right now. Cause it seems
exactly,
like more ladies are coming into business now, especially even when we talk about the OnlyFans girls. Many of them
exactly.
are actually in their late 30s, early 40s.
Many of
They
them
just
are.
don't look, period. And it seems like to me, porn is now gearing towards, well, talent wise, an older generation, which I think is actually better because one, we're a little bit more responsible. Two, there's less shame because that's the biggest mistake girls make to come into business. They shame walking into the business and
Hmm.
worried about being found out and all that stuff. So when you're older, that's kind of taken away because either your parents didn't pass, you didn't been married and they had kids, and you at the point you really don't give a shit what people think.
Exactly.
Period. So do you think you being an older woman helps you versus being younger?
I think it does, because I had a chance to do it earlier, and I didn't. Whereas now I'm more of a responsible person. I think during this pandemic, I've been a much more responsible person, and I think you have to be, and you have to be really focused and have kind of a very a tough mental attitude to do this, because there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be idiots out there trying to break you down, and I know people, that'll make the most asinine comments, and just because that makes them feel better. um but it's definitely been a very positive experience in this
Mm-hmm.
part of the industry so far.
Oh yeah, because the thing of it is that a lot of times which lucky I think you haven't ran into is the janky producers or bullshitters or what have you. Have you ever had any situations on set that didn't go well? Whether the guy didn't get hard or have a hard time being hard, because people don't realize not every shoot is perfect.
Exactly. So far everything's been pretty good. There was one where it took him a little bit longer. He was an older guy, and
Mm-hmm.
who'd been around, and but other than that, um between hardcore and even BDSM, this business, I can say it's been pretty good to me so far. I really can't complain.
Mm-hmm.
It's extended my career in front of the camera,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's um I can't complain.
Most definitely. So, how much of your brand is BDSM? Because I see that you really play into that, and it seems
Yeah,
like that's like your strongest part of your brand.
it seems like it, and because I got into the industry like that, and
Mhm.
I know that for like a lot of the people who are in the hardcore side of that, I think they get a little bit more, some of the
Mhm.
really really hard, the some of the stuff with darker lighting, and it
Mhm.
has kind of a dark image, and um it's like that may scare them a little bit, and then there's other stuff where I'm like,
Mhm.
soft, and I'm
Yeah.
getting, I know there will be a lot of photographers once I'm traveling more, and
Mhm.
where we'll do some stuff where it's a lot more softer lighting, You know, and as I'm working more, you know, each scene or shoot is a different look. And um you know, again, because I think some of my shoots that I've done where, you know, I'm taking that, you know, from say a boy girl scene, and it shows me in a different light where I don't look like that severe, you know, Nazi leather dom or something, you know.
See,
And
you got like that 80s rock star
uh
blondie look. I like that.
thank you.
It's
Yeah.
retro with the short hair. I really like that. You know what I'm saying? Which actually plays into the BDSM look anyway to a certain extent.
It does. And when I got into this industry, I had to really completely redo myself. And I was like, we're gonna go with a different look. We're gonna scrap how you were the last decade, and we're gonna go somewhere where we've never gone before, you know, and see what happens. And it's worked out too.
Yeah, because because people don't realize how much of a niche market BDSM is in.
Hmm.
And plus the money behind it if you do your cards right. So let's talk about the scenes with BDSM, because you do both submissive as well as dom scenes,
Exactly.
what have you. You know, period. Speak first of all to the dom scenes and the type dom scenes that you do.
Um, I think as a top, I'm more branded as you know, a lot of impact play. And when I say
Yeah.
impact play, I'm talking about flogging, paddling,
Mm-hmm.
single tails, which can be a bullet, or it can be a snake or a snake tail, which is it's a shorter and thinner whip. And I like them. They're nice and light, and they when they make that crack, they're breaking the sound of speed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of people who don't understand BDSM, and it's like Chinese arithmetic or classical, you know, like
Yeah.
classical jazz. You have to learn it to understand it, you know. Yeah.
Mhm. So shoot. So on the switch side, you do a lot of bondage, a lot of impact play on your end
I do. I've done
for the
some bond
switch.
and, you
Okay.
know, some rope suspensions that are
Mm-hmm.
incredible, and I think it looks cool. I think it's a very artistic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
part of BDSM, and you know, performing on stage too. As a dom, it could be anything from me doing a strap-on scene, you know, and doing that on and in front of a crowded, you know, audience. And I've done
Mm-hmm.
it as a submissive, and I've done it with some famous doms that I was doing it with,
Mm-hmm.
and it was it was a really rough time that I was going through. My mom
Mm-hmm.
had just passed, and um, so I'm doing this scene, and there was one other girl, and it was a mixture of sex and BDSM, and
Mm-hmm.
um, so you know, usually like white is a very submissive color, so I was like in this
Yeah.
light and everything, had the white collar on, um so yeah, I was getting, you know, there was a lot of heavy impact play involved
Mm-hmm.
in that scene, and there was a lot of strap on and
Mm-hmm.
um, like fisting, and it was very cathartic. I was like in tears, and
Oh
you
my
know, there's
God.
one scene where I'm bent over a cage and I'm facing the audience. The thing
Mm-hmm.
about it is that for the most part, the audience looks like a silhouette, and that could be because of the lighting that's
Mm-hmm.
on me when I'm on the stage. But
Yeah, because that's a different aspect of performing in front of camera versus people.
hmm
You know, period and stuff, because of the showmanship of it. Because I know from talking to a smoke buddy of mine, Giselle Lane, they performed in front of a crowd at Exotica doing a
okay.
bunch of Dom stuff and everything.
hmm
So it's like, speak to the difference, the difference level emotionally and energy wise, working in front of a crowd versus just working in front of a camera.
Um, I think the crowd kind of amps up your adrenaline a little bit more. I think sometimes, um, whether it's a very small set, and it could be a little bit more business like. There's not as
Mm-hmm.
much noise going on, and you just kind of go for what the scene is, and so it's kind of like I would say that playing in a crowded packed house, which I haven't done in so long now.
Mm-hmm.
um Doing that, and um getting that instant, that's the other thing, the instant feedback. And then,
Yeah.
say for example, something that was shot, and I'm so amazed because, and say like hardcore, film, the videos are like dropping within like a month or two, or at least, or
Mm-hmm.
not even that long. And when I did mainstream, I wouldn't see even a rough cut of it for like a year
Yeah.
after I shot it. And that's
I
crazy.
know. I know I know that was just crazy. Like the crowd just into it, watching it, and then
Hmm.
they're probably quiet just watching. You know what I'm saying? And so it's. I know it's a different level of intensity. You know,
Hmm.
and because the crowd is there and
There
everything. So
is, yeah.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's other ones where I've done, it's a little bit more burlesque, and
Mm,
there's some stuff I've done with a mixture of like music, and
mm,
this is when we're playing at vanilla clubs, like on the Sunset
mhm.
Strip. And then, so when I come out of the green room, and then there was one where um all I had on was, from the waist up, was like the black electrical tape on my nipples. I had to have that covered.
Yeah.
But to see the look on their faces, and I assume people see it all the time because I'm so desensitized, I think.
Hmm.
And I remember when I started webcamming, I'd be talking about it like at the supermarket aisles, and nothing. And like, I wonder if people are eavesdropping on what I'm talking about, and
Hmm.
like, what the fuck? But yeah, because you forget about that sometimes. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it's so trippy about that. And um yeah, it's definitely the feedback, the instant feedback.
Most definitely. So now this the part of the show where the dicks go limp and the pussies go dry. We about to talk about the business.
Okay, definitely.
Okay. Now, as we know, there's always ups and downs in this business, from
Hmm.
the money to saying the sales, traffic, and the whole nine. So what I want you to speak to first is the ups and downs of this business as far as money. Saying, and then what do you do, because now that you're a businesswoman and you do your own content, what do you do to help boost traffic and to increase sales when times are on the months that it ain't hitting?
Um, Now that I've been back into it, try to mix it up a bit. I think later today I'll be doing some stuff that'll be completely different. I don't think it'll be any BDSM.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be pretty nasty, I think. But um, and I'll probably put. I think I should put the podcast poster, because just to boost, see what I'm doing, and some stuff for X3 Expo. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's like I may just have like recently new videos. And
Mm-hmm.
I think by overdoing it, I think that it may have like recognized it as spam.
Mm-hmm.
um I know I'm shadow banned. A lot of us are shadow banned, and that's another
Yeah.
downside of it. It's like they hate us, and it's like, okay, we're what we're 22 years into the 21st century, and yet people are still, hung up on sex,
Mm-hmm.
anything sexual, and yet
It's
secretly they
crazy.
love it. Bill would always say, 95% of America, or the world rather, and that for that matter,
Mm-hmm.
is jerking off to us, while they're
Yeah.
pushing away with the other hand. That was one of his
Mm-hmm.
famous quotes. And and that's another deterrent that's all of us have. But I mean, um
Yeah, because I saw this site scat.com.
Uh-huh. Oh
And
my
I
god.
was like, okay, and which way you could put, scat videos. And
Oh
I've
yeah.
been said this, that the way these sites are going is that a lot of the videos that we do that might make us money, we're not going to be able to do anymore on new sites because either they're going to take them down or make it to where you can't really tag it the way it is,
Right.
period. But
Exactly.
because to me, I think we have became too. I always say this, it's normalized to watch, but not normalized to be in,
Mm-hmm.
and not normalized to accept. Like I can watch
Exactly.
it, I can't accept what point is. I can't be in it, but it's okay for me to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good viewpoint to look at, to put it into. And
Yeah, I think that the biggest the thing about it is that like even when I look at the different terms from the BDSM from when it comes to BDZ slut, king of spades, queen of spades, the arguments that people be having nowadays, which was
Mhm.
never there prior to the OnlyFans era,
Right.
period, or the sensitivity era, or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So, which also goes to the miseducation of BDSM.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, but with which I also want you to speak to also the money, the ups and downs, because I know not every month is great.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Even though people try to pretend like every month is great for them, it's not. So speak to that.
No, not at all. Not during this era where everybody's watching every penny, but there's still ways to do it. And this year, even in any of my other businesses, it's been kind of slow, but I think the last month on my OnlyFans did pretty good. And
Mm-hmm.
whether it's tips and when you're cashing out, that's a pretty good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um and then for a while it was like I was just rationing content, and I was just really trying to and then back in October they were gonna
Mm-hmm.
take all the pornographic content out. But then again,
Mm-hmm.
without that, OnlyFans has nothing. There is zero, because
Yeah.
nobody's gonna pay money to see a fitness influencer, which they can already get for free anyway. And that would be the end of OnlyFans, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, because they found out that the fans was coming there for their platform, not realizing that the fans was coming there for the people on the platform.
exactly, yeah.
Which made them change course, which they still might bump sex workers off,
Uh-huh.
period. But it made them hold time because I don't think they're ever going to do it because they'll lose too much money if they did. They're
Exactly.
already now, yeah, which in turn, because even to the point when they were announced they made $1 billion, they ain't seen $1 billion no more.
Yeah, those days will be over.
Yeah, no, $1 billion right now. Trust me, the next time they quarter come out, they did not see $1 billion. They
Mm-hmm.
actually probably seen half of that at best.
Right.
That's how much money they lost, and would have lost
Mm.
more than that if they didn't change course or what have you.
Exactly.
So, so so how long you been in the life of BDSM? Put it this way, did you get to BDSM before you got into porn, or was porn part of your BDSM doctoring?
I would say a little bit of everything, but the first time I ever saw an actual BDSM scene was in 1995, and I was with
Mm-hmm.
I was a model at the time. And I
Mm-hmm.
was young, and I was with a makeup artist who was hanging out in drag with me, and one of our other friends who's really heavily into it.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up doing like this after party, and there was this other girl who was a switch. I didn't know what it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was doing a dom scene on her, and I was kind of laughing because he was like doing the slut, you wore too much makeup, I'm gonna paddle you. And he's like, nail hard. And I'm like, I don't know if it was a nervous laughter or what.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, don't laugh, you're next. And I went downstairs. I was like, she's not gonna paddle me, I'm not gonna let that happen. And everything was cool and everything like that. But when I was coming out here, one year I was out here for what we call TV pilot season,
Mm-hmm.
And that's when like a lot of TV shows are pilots, and everybody comes out here looking for work. And so my ex, who we were just seeing each other at that time, and we ended up going to these BDSM parties during that time period. And I'd met some people who I've known since then, and little by through the years, I would go to different, the different clubs and everything, but there were times I wasn't arrested at all,
Mm-hmm.
and working in Hollywood, it's not what people think. I mean, it's like you spend like 8-hour days or 10-hour
Mm-hmm.
days where you just work, whether you're writing or if you're working on a set, and you could be shooting for 16 hours and shooting a 2-minute scene.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to that, I mean, there were some clubs that certain nights they were like a dungeon,
Mm-hmm.
and some industrial clubs, and it was like an industrial park. And um, but when the time came and I had to call in my markers, and I was trained very fast, and my ex didn't. He wanted me to be this fierce dom, and I think not really learning what I really needed to learn at that time. I think
Mm-hmm.
that set me up to fail early on, but everything's kind of worked out.
Most definitely, most definitely. So, from your experience as a dom, what's some of the constant mistakes people make and misconceptions they make about BDSM?
That's to abuse, man. No, and in a nutshell, it's an endorphin rush.
Mm-hmm.
Um, pain. There's a thing called good pain, bad pain, and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of pain can be pleasure. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
The endorphin rush. And to experience an endorphin rush, there's nothing like it. I know when I do it when I'm smoking weed and I go running,
Mm-hmm.
like when I'm saying, once I hit a certain point, I have this endorphin rush, and I think it's a mixture of the weed and the endorphins, and it's a good combo. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Most definitely. So, because I think with me, what people don't understand is BDSM is more mental than physical, and it's about power exchange.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that a lot of people do not explain to people that's coming in, whether they're subs or doms. It's about
Exactly.
power exchange. Like, for example, the biggest misconception I see the doms make is that they think they choose the sub chooses the dom. It's not the other way around.
Mm-mm.
Because
Yeah.
in order to submit, you have to choose who you're going to submit to. You can't choose
Mhm.
somebody to submit to you. It's kind
Exactly.
of logical, period, and everything. So it's like with many of your, do you have any male slaves? Like right now, outside of the filming, just on your personal side, do you have slaves or
Not
peers?
right now. Not at the moment. I've had a few. Um, with this pandemic going on, and
Yeah.
um, it's and there's so many people that they email me. Oh, I want to be the slave. It's like, well, what are you gonna really do for me?
I'm saying.
Because a lot, and this is the big misconception. They think their time with me is gonna be like a session, and they think,
Hmm.
oh, if they're my slave and all that, and it's like, what am I getting out of this? I mean, this
Hmm.
is like bringing seashells to the beach, and
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, I think they could just be like, yo, I want to be your slave.
mhm.
And it's simple as that. It's not that. You have to go through training. I have to see if you even fit me.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the
You
personality have to be able to intertwine a little bit too.
Yeah, period. Because it's kind of like, because as a dom, you hope to have a slave for life,
Yeah.
and sometimes, and a lot of times, which I find interesting how, which makes me wonder how much things have changed. Because back then, doms had slaves for years. Now
Hmm.
you might have a slave for fucking 6 months. It's kind of
Exactly.
like this generation really don't get the lifestyle. They really don't. Even from
No.
polyamory, they don't get it.
Hmm.
To swinging, they don't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it's kind of like the blind leading the blind.
Exactly. And that's another thing, because having my partner, really, it was so cool. Things that's really hot that what I do for a living, or um you know, that's what really helps me move forward in it, you know. Exactly.
Yeah, most definitely. So shoot, so um you do content trade, correct?
Yeah, I do that too.
Okay, most definitely. So when guys step to you, what they need to bring to the table for you to work with them?
I want to see what their stuff looks like, because now that I've done that box cover and I see how I've been framed, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do something that's not you know, going to make me look my best, you know, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to have a good rapport, you know. I want to have a good energy with that person too. You know, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the talent or other content creators, and right now that, you know, we've been texting, and you know, it's like as soon as I can get to Las Vegas or
Mm-hmm.
this part of, or wherever, you know, the East Coast, and you know, we've already kind of built some kind of a I don't know, energy or something where, okay, this shoot's gonna go pretty well. We'll make a really hot scene
Mm-hmm.
doing that. You know, and part of it is, you know, the energy, and that translates into the performance, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
because it's still mental, you know. I mean, sex is mental,
Mm-hmm.
and um you know, people think, oh, it's between the legs. No, it comes from above, and then
Yeah, because one, you got to be in tune, especially with filming. You got to be in tune with your co-star, so the scene can be hot.
mm-hmm,
Period.
exactly.
If that goes to discussion of boundaries. That goes to the pre-care within the scene of him making you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm,
To do your best on the scene, and even to the aftercare. Period. People don't
exactly.
realize, yes, there's aftercare and pre-care in porn. It's not just in
Mhm.
BDSM.
Exactly.
Period.
You know, I mean, it's you know, it's a you know, it is a scene, and um yeah, it can take a lot out of you.
Yeah, because they also know that we have to take to walk into the scene.
Exactly. And
You know,
I'll
I
add
think.
another thing. It's like I think the prepping is like even several days before, because
Hell yeah.
um like the one that I did the box cover for, I was you know, and even now I'm in my best shape, but um I mean, I was in the gym all the time, and so I did a smoothie like shake that
Mhm,
morning, and then I just drank water throughout the day, and then I just kind of like drained, and then
mhm,
everything looked pretty good. It's good. That's what a lot of people for like a fitness shoot do, and I
mhm,
think that's another thing why everything looked so good, I think.
mhm. Yeah, because like I said before, it's like no different than because you being in Hollywood, an actor going on set, they have to do mental
Hmm.
preparation.
Exactly.
Especially for them to play a character. Because there's
Mhm.
some actors that literally become the character.
Oh, totally.
Literally.
Yeah. I've lived in
You
my
know.
character before, and this was like years ago. I lived in this high rise in the other part of town, and
Mhm,
I needed to go into my mailroom, and I had to park in this one spot, and
mhm,
I was coming back. I was in my character. I was getting ready to shoot the next day, and I was one of my neighbors. I see him in the elevator all the time, and he copped a little attitude. And then me being
mhm.
in the character that I was at, I was playing a very vile person. It got really, let's just say it got really interesting, and he kind of shut the fuck up too, you know, and
Oh God, he must have cussed his ass out royally.
yeah, in front of a few people too, and again, I was in my character, and that's one thing I was prepping,
Mhm,
and I later apologized to him, and he got it, you know, but it was
mhm.
you know, because people in the building, there's so many industry people there, and um you know, and so it's people know what's going on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Because to me, like I said, even with me, I like you, my prep began the week of, from that
mhm,
Monday all the way up to then. Because like I said before, it's one, especially as a male talent, you got to stay hard on camera.
yes, that's a big thing.
And we are the most important part of the scene, because without us, there's no pop, there's
Exactly.
no there's no fucking. Let's just be honest. Because even with a girl on girl scene, There's no definitive ending in a girl-to-girl scene. There's no definitive ending in no solo. You just stop. There's an ending when it comes to a boy-girl. So, and then on top of that, add to it, I'm talking about shooting 3 or 4 scenes within that day. So I better be mentally prepped.
Definitely, yeah. I can imagine I can't begin to imagine how tough it is got to be for male talent, and they're shooting several scenes a day where.
Yeah.
I mean, me, I'll get sore, but it's I don't know, it's a whole different thing. I mean, different plumbing, different biology.
Yeah,
So
because with y'all, it's how can I put this? With dudes, it's because we got to busting up. With y'all, it's y'all got to be mindful so your pussy wouldn't be worn out and swole and you know what I'm saying? Just beat up because even to when girls do gangbangs, you're fucking different dicks. You're not fucking the same dick.
Exactly.
So
and
you might have a 10 that come right behind a 9. Yeah. Yeah. So.
And it's yeah. I mean, I haven't done it on camera, but I mean, I've done it in my real, in my own life. And it's
you done a gangbang, huh?
And I can totally relate. And I mean, not only that, the other male talents have to be in tune with each other. I mean, if somebody goes, oh, if my dick's, because it's not that far between the asshole and the pussy, so they have to be in tune, and they have to like really be okay. This is what we're doing. But I think everybody should experiment in their regular life before they do it on camera. Don't just go on camera and say, oh, because if they're doing it for the money or if they're doing it to sell content and to take it a thing higher. Try it in your real life before you actually do it on camera.
Well, most definitely. So how many guys was in the gangbang that you did?
That one was 4 that time, but I mean, I've done it with like 3 and 2, and it's why not? I mean, men for so long, the thing is, oh, having 2 women or having 3 women, oh, I got a harem. And it's like, women, I think, have the same needs. Especially in today's world where it's like, we've taken control over our sexuality. And I think more, it's less and less, say, shameful, or not like what it was, say, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. And
yeah, because I think everything became normalized. Just be real. Even think about it, we have a TV show, Sister Wives. Do I need to say more?
Yeah.
But hold up, we don't have a TV show saying brother husbands. I ain't gonna say nothing though. I ain't gonna say nothing because it's just funny that it's we have shows where they show the guy has multiple women, but you never see shows where the woman have multiple men. And I kind of never understood that, because why not show both sides of the fence?
Exactly. And I mean, I've seen a few European ones, sort of, where or somewhere it was they try to like really flower it up, and not really show it the way it was, and then Belle de Jour, it's a classic. Catherine Deneuve, and she's kind of fucked up, and she's married to this one prominent man, and yet she works in a brothel, some afternoons, and where that was way ahead of its time.
Yeah, because I think that because the only thing I hate about normalization and making it less taboo is that it's too easy to give misinformation.
Yeah, that's true.
Period. Because even back in the day when it was taboo, you had to be ushered into the lifestyle. You had to find spots where, and then be ushered into it. While now, shit, a motherfucker just call himself that and they in it. Kind of like that was going on with porn.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, I hate to sound like an old fogarty, but the old ways in many ways is better because it safeguards for bullshit. And it allowed less bullshit.
And And that's one of the downsides of it, you know.
Yeah, because to me it's kind of like once you took away the taboo, it kind of took away the fun almost.
Mm-hmm. In many
Because
ways.
because yeah, because people got off the fact that it was my dirty little secret,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and now it's not even dirty. I know,
Yeah, that
but
that kind of once it's not such a dark that dark thing that makes somebody that gives them that extra something that makes them come a little bit harder, and once that's
mm-hmm.
taken away, it's kind of like um it doesn't come in as
Yeah.
intense anymore. It loses its edge after a while.
Oh yeah, cause I mean, even from seeing from your pictures, yeah, I see your scenes get intense.
Yeah, I think that's what we were going for, because I've done some stuff that's very
Mhm.
intense, and then I think that might scare some people, but
Mhm.
that's not completely all of me.
See, that's why I say you would have loved me because, like I said, I mean, I tell girls this all the time, but no, this is fucking. I'm not bullshitting because
Right.
I'm that versatile. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, and plus two, I liked my scenes to be intense also. That we are fucking and we going hard. I want to be so after
Right,
the
exactly.
scene
Yeah.
because that means because it'll look good on camera. You know what I'm saying? You
It
know,
does.
period.
Really.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, you can't fake that.
Most definitely. Now I got to ask you this because I haven't had too many girls that has been with this company, Love Models. I've been seeing Love Models for years.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to me what is Love Models, which I know he's an agent. You
Mm-hmm.
know, how does Love Models help you?
When my friend was there, um, that's where I was getting a lot of my bookings at pre-pandemic, and then I think a lot of
Mhm.
things just kind of during the pandemic, sort of just it seemed like less and less communication, and um I'll probably know a lot more this week coming up,
Mhm.
and seeing what my shooting schedule. I was gonna shoot, even if it's content,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna be ready by XBIZ. I think the main thing is building up my
Mhm.
fan base. I'm gonna have to be at a booth,
Mhm. Mhm.
and my attitude was like, why should I be at a booth? I'm not a lot of people are just learning who I am right now.
Mhm.
um but it's a great networking experience, and right now that's what I really need to focus on,
Mhm.
and then doing the award show. But X3
Mhm.
Expo is a great way to break back into it.
Yeah.
um I do need to be interacting with people a lot more, because I've been like kind of like tucked away from everything. I haven't been leaving the house that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And
Because well, I mean, let's be honest, it's been the pandemic. Period.
we
But
are
hopefully things open
far
up to
from
where you
over.
can go to Exoticas and all that.
Yeah, it's far from over, and people, like I said earlier, people that have
Mhm.
already canceled for XBiz, and I hope it doesn't, you know.
Mhm. Well, I think things should clear up. Well, should get a little bit better by mid-year.
I think so too. At least
Long as they ain't
Exotica.
so I swear to God, when another variant comes, we're gonna be back to square one.
Yeah.
Um, but there's some question I wanted to ask you because a lot of girls always have the question:
Mm-hmm.
when do you get an agent? When do you get management? What made you feel that you need to go through Love Models? Period, or get an agent? Period. And what's the advantages of having one in this day and age?
Um. Pre-pandemic, they were really promoting me, and they were getting me work,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went on touring. But without that, I wouldn't have gotten the box cover, and
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, even though a lot of people are starting to shoot more now, and
Mm-hmm.
um, it is kind of slow a little bit in some areas, but
Mm-hmm.
hopefully this week coming, I'll have a really good clear picture on some things going on, and then but I definitely I'm very driven, and I think uh it's funny when I was doing those shoots like late 2019, I wasn't even really focused on it, for the most part. Even though I did what I needed to do in prep, but I was looking forward to my touring, and now that I'm focused on that, it's because of that box cover. I'm really motivated, and but yeah,
Yeah, because
I
the
think
interesting
agents help. But you're about to say.
no, because the reason why I was asking this is because we in the content creator era.
Right.
Now, back in the day when I came in, agents they had a strong purpose. They had the connects. They had all this. Now this day and age, girls do it their damn self for the most part.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, is it that you got an agent because you need it because you didn't have the cash that connects, or you need an agent because it made, how can I put this? Did you need an agent because it made sense to have one, not just because it's the cliche thing to do?
I think because the opportunity was there and it fell on my lap, and it was my friend, and I really trust her, and she came through for me for that. Had the offer not been there, I probably not would have done it, and who knows where my career would have been. I may just be some, dom somewhere doing sessions, and because I really didn't know, even though I did a little bit of content here and there. So, but you know what? I hear a lot of studio girls who are no longer. They're just doing stuff for OnlyFans or other platforms, and some may be burnt out from the mainstream part of that industry. I don't know.
Yeah. No, to me, I think it's more so that girls are more conscientious about having their own content versus trying to shoot the industry for so much. Because it used to be a time where now, well, how can I put this? Now you shooting with them because you want to, not because you need to. You feel it back in the day, you kind of needed to get your cachet up. Now, I don't have to shoot with Brazen. I don't have to shoot with these top companies because the way social media has now became the strength of many of these girls' promotion. Do I really need to go shoot with Brazen unless I'm just doing it to get some cachet fan base? But technically, does girls really need? I gotta put this. Do girls really need an agent at this day and age? And if they did, would they even know how to navigate with one?
Yeah, that's a good question. Especially with not as many companies shooting right now.
Yeah, see, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, it's such a dry area, and
Because agents make their money off of you making money. So if it's not much being
exactly.
shot, paid shoots, they're not making money. So it's kind of like, what are they booking you to? I mean,
Exactly.
not knocking love models. Understand this. I'm not knocking love models. But this is with all agencies. If there's not a lot of shoots out there, how are you getting girls bookings and keeping them booked and making them money, which in turn makes you money?
Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, this week I hope to know. And I'll have an idea. I haven't done anything. During this pandemic, and for most of the year, my head wasn't into it until I said, hey, I need to start prepping for XBIZ, and just getting back into and just kind of like getting out of the fog a little bit, and
Yeah, because like I said, Love Model's been doing this for a minute, so he's like one of the ones that I can sit there and say is reputable that I was into a girl, period. But it was just with me when it comes to agencies. Nothing against him, nothing against any of these agencies. I don't see the need because one, there's not a lot of pay gigs. 2006, when I came in, a girl can go to Hollywood, stay out there for a week, come home with 5 to 10 grand in her fucking pocket, if not damn near 50 grand. Because with that many shoots. Now you go out to Hollywood, you lucky you get 2.
Yeah.
So and then on top of that, you trying to also sell the same girl back to the same companies who already shot them and probably did bulk pay with them, which they got 4 scenes out their asses, which means that I don't need to see them for 2 to 3 years. Period. So it's kind of like with the agency, they have to change for the time, which means that they have to help girls book for content trade. They have to help them with marketing and promotion and stuff like that. It's not as simple as just booking them to shoots, because who the fuck you booking them to? Because now go before you talk, because some of the companies, one, ain't paying worth shit. Let's be honest. They're not paying worth shit. What the fuck is 300? You basically breaking even. Yeah, you basically breaking even because you paying that for your TTS. You know, period. But go ahead. What you about to say?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, you know, even like say a lot of name talents right now are shooting for OnlyFans.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see them shooting for too many companies. I mean, I see a little bit out there, but you know, right now and yeah, it'll be interesting, you know, when I return, you know, what direction I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You know? And
Well, sure. I mean, I tell girls, you get paid gigs, but you make sure to keep your content. Never let the industry have more content of you than you have of yourself.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, even with these paid gigs, they will drop eventually because they didn't got enough out of you.
Yeah.
Unless they, you know what I'm saying, unless they really like working with you. And even then, they might work with you for a good, strong 2 years and you don't hear from them. You know, that's why it's very important. That's why a lot of girls in that era would have loved to have it both ways, where they was able to do the content but still have the agencies to deal with, because the agency did. Because back then, when you were the agency, you was good. You was good. I can't say that now. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, but the one thing I can say with Love Models, he has adjusted what an agency is. Cause I do see him promote the girls. I do see him getting work and what have you. But not even be getting the work, he's helping them get their content. He helping them get marketing promotion. Not all agencies doing that.
No,
you know, and some of these PR agencies, y'all are not fucking PR. Stop saying you are. You ain't public relating shit.
Yeah, it seems like it's like a waste, you know. I mean, and I've seen that like even in mainstream where, you know, people are just trying to make, you know, money off of you and to say, hey, we're repping you, even though they're not doing a fucking thing for you or something. And
yeah, because I think because the worst thing is to be signed to an agency and you stuck there and you can't move.
Yeah,
See, I think
can't
that's the
even
one
shoot
thing
content.
I think that's the one thing I give props to Love Models, is that he allowed the models to move without him, and he still works. You feel me? That they're able. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, you know, and yeah, because I mean, who knows what it's gonna be like, say maybe 6 months from now.
Yeah.
You know, I could be self-booking, you know.
Yeah, because it's the simple fact of that he still allowed the ladies to move. You know what I'm saying? And that's the most important thing that I think is very important, is that if you can't get them work, you still allow them to be able to work on their own. You know, period, to where, and you still help them with marketing and promotion. You know, period. And what girls don't understand, the reason why you need the agency, because if he's helping you with the marketing promotion, he got a bigger reach than you, and that's an extra hand with marketing promotion. You know.
Yeah.
Actually, that's it. To be honest with you, that's what we're heading back to anyway. Girls hooking up with the you know what I'm saying, hooking up with the producers, hooking up with, you know what I'm saying, like agencies like him, you know what I'm saying, for the simple fact of that these companies, well, these agencies, these producers can, one, help you find the right male times to work with, so you don't have to worry about digging through shit to find gold all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, because you might end up getting a male talent and you thinking you getting something special. This motherfucker walking with a phone. No lights, no camera, just a fucking phone. And you look at him like, what the fuck, dude? Really?
Yeah, because if I walked into a shoot with the iPhone or something, I'd be like, wait a minute. I've been shot by some of the best photographers out there in my time. And I'm not going to debase myself. I'll walk the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Just so anybody hears this podcast, man, who's thinking about shooting me with the iPhone, you heard it here first.
Yeah, because to me, I think that I hate when people use the phone because to me it's amateurish. And when I see porn stars use the fucking phone, it drives me nuts because it's more amateur. Yeah, you hear me. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Because to me, it's like we are porn stars. We're not content creators. We're porn stars. We're not sex workers. We do sex work, but we're porn stars because we're professionals at this. It's a reason why we get tested. It's a reason why we have to literally curve our personal sex life to where we barely ain't having any because we don't want to catch nothing and bring it on set to the next motherfucker.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
yeah. So that's well, but Miss Lady, you know something? I have enjoyed this.
Same here, guys.
You are wonderful. So tell everybody where they can spend some money on you.
They can go to my OnlyFans at Erikka XXX, and Erikka with 2 Ks, and hopefully very soon we're gonna have some new platforms. I'm gonna start shooting content fairly soon, not too long after XBIZ if everything goes well.
Well, most definitely, and everything, and who do you have who do you already have lined up for shoots during XBIZ?
I'm not going to shoot any during XBIZ, but probably not too long after that. Right there, I'm mainly going to be networking, and I have to get some dental work done right before that. So I'm getting it fifth, and
yeah, because I know you dead on because you on the West Coast, right?
I'm on the West Coast. And
yeah, that's why I'm surprised you ain't been hit up by Richard, man, by any of them cats on the West Coast. That might happen after this drops. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm pretty sure. Because people love listening and watching, and they love grabbing the girls that I interview and stuff. So I mean, I think I'm looking forward to follow you on your journey back in this
definitely,
business,
thank you,
and looking to bring you back a whole lot to the pod.
Yeah, I would love it. Yeah.
Most definitely.
So you can't cover everything in the first time,
Oh no, and plus
not in 1 hour.
Oh no, and then on top of that, you're gonna have other stuff coming up because I want to talk to you about your shoots that you're gonna have coming up that you're gonna be doing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
I need to be shooting, so it's not too long. XBIZ, this is going to be my first XBIZ and X3 Expo anyway, and I'm going to be a little overwhelmed, and I haven't been around too many people lately too. So I'm taking it kind of a little slowly and see what happens, and people are going to meet me even though we've been like communicating like online and everything. For a lot of people, it's going to be like the first time where I'm going to be meeting them physically in person. Which is interesting. And some people who I haven't seen in a while, and so I'm looking forward to that experience alone, and just take it in and make my connections, and then kind of go from there a little bit.
And we will bring you back so
Awesome.
you can tell us about your XBIZ experience, and also I want to bring you back for a special episode so we can really dig deep into BDSM because I talk heavy about BDSM because I'm a dom myself. So why wouldn't I talk about it?
I like that.
So we definitely going to do an episode about that and everything. So with that being said, because you done told everybody where to go get that money, you go spend that money on you. People, you know how we end this every day, all day. It never changes. Life is a learning experience. What's the point of the experience? You didn't learn anything. Smoke this over. Thanks for coming to the lounge, baby. Can't wait to have you back.
Thank you. I can't wait to be back.
No doubt. And it went out right.
Hey there.